Hi, my name is Sandeep. I'm from Actuate Singapore, and I'm going to walk you through the SAP connector for BIRT, which has been developed in conjunction with Yash, one of our partners from India. So the way the connector works is that you install the R3 and the BW connector into the BIRT environment. It works with both Eclipse as well as the commercial BIRT. Once the connector has been installed, you launch the data source connection properties for R3 or BW, and you enter the login credentials. These login credentials are actually the SAP login credentials. As you can see in the step two, once you have entered the credentials, this gets validated by the this connector against the SAP system. And once the users have been validated, it will launch the query builder. The query builder can be used for both, selecting your OLAP BAPIs if it is you're connecting to BW, or the BAPIs if you're connecting to R3. Once you have selected and dragged and dropped designed your queries, the query would be returned back to the actual BERT design environment. And once the designer either launches the preview or the run report, query, it would basically go back to the query builder validated against the SAP system. And the SAP system will then in return return a query and the results set handle. This basically is returned back to the actuator report designer or to the BERT engine on the server, which is then used for generating the report output. So that is how the SAP connector works at a high level. What I'm going to walk you through next is actually the connecting to the SAP system through a live environment, where I'll be connecting first to R3 and then to BW, just to demonstrate the connection properties. So I've got two examples. In the first example, we'll see how you connect to an SAP R3 system. So we'll go into the BERT report designer, create a new report, and this is going to be a blank report where we'll set up an SAP R3 connection first. Call it an SAP sample. Go into the data source. You'll see in my data source window now I have two new connectors called SAP BW and R3 as a data source. First, for the first example, I select R3. These are the standard SAP login parameters. I have them saved in a connection profile so that I do not have to key them every time. So I go into that connection profile and select the R3 connection. So it's pre-populated the fields, and I just need to test the ping whether it's successful. I can ping to the SAP system. The next thing I would do is create a data set which would use the same logon parameters to R3 using the web services and allow me to build a query. The query in this case is built using the default BAPIs that is very familiar to an SAP user. So these are existing as well as the custom BAPIs that exist in the system. There could be thousands of them, so we do allow search functionality. This is very unique to Actuate, which some of our competitors are not able to provide. So the search functionality is something pretty useful to the user if you have too many BAPIs. So what you're going to do is select the BAPI object. Once you've selected the object that you would like to report against, uh, you select that into your dataset query component. And then, a typical BAPI would take a set of input and output parameters. So you would need to select the output parameter that would be used as a return data set for your report. So once you select the export parameter, all those columns become now available automatically within BIRT. So these are all the columns. I can further create computed columns if required. Once you preview, it's hitting my R3 system and be able to bring back the results straight from R3. As a user, you can also set up some filters on top of the data that you have fetched. So it's very useful as it's pretty much dialogue driven. So users don't really need to write any functions. However, they can add ad hoc filters to the R3 data set if required. Uh, Also, you can simply drag and drop and start creating a report from here, but you can create multiple data connections back to R3 and join them, as well as do union or intersection of those result sets within BIRT Report Designer. So that's a very powerful feature which only BIRT allows, is combining multiple BAPIs for a single report. So you don't have to engage ABAP programmers to write multiple, ABAP queries for you. So that being said, let's look at the next example, which is a BW example. So you connect to a BW data source. These are the standard logon parameters. Again, I will take the login parameters from the profile file that I have saved. So select my SAP connection profile, select the BW connection, and these are pre-populated figures. So just want to check the ping test, and it succeeded. So now I'm connected to the SAP BW system. Uh, just notice that I'm using the same report to connect to both R3 and BW, so I can actually design a report which is connecting to BW for all the aggregated information and then drilling into the R3 if required. So from here, again, it's a standard view to the user. You select the info provider, and then once you selected the info provider, you select the BEX query. You're gonna select the key figure as an item, column item. So you're gonna define that as a column item. Then you can go in and select the category, and you define the category as a row member. So you're basically creating an MDX query by just selecting the fields that you would like to have on your report. Now, most importantly, if there are multiple hierarchies or multiple levels that has been created in these cubes, we do not flatten them. So that's a unique differentiator from our competitors. We maintain the hierarchies, allowing the user to have the same view like they would have in the BEX query when they're building it inside SAP system for using the OLAP APIs. So once you have selected all the columns, the MDX is auto generated for you, and once you are happy with the MDX, you basically just hit the finish button and you get all the output columns that you have selected. And this preview result actually goes into the BW system on the fly and fetches back the result. So now I can just simply again use that data set and drag and drop it to the right to create an interface where now I will be able to see the results on my report straight away. So as simple as that, I'm able to create a new report which is going to connect to both R3 and BW and be able to, fetch data from either system based on your requirement. So this is a very versatile connector which allows you to connect to any kind of system that you have, as well as allows you to create multiple data connections if required.